Let's elevate the energy. Beautiful morning, everyone. Yes. Oh, a lot's popping here at the temple. So, esteemed temple family, we extend a warm welcome to each of you present and thus joining us online. As we gather in this sacred moment, we kindly ask that you silence your phones, if you have not done so already, to honor the stillness and sanctuarity of our shared space. Now, did you know that July is declared a National Ice Cream Month? That's what's poppin'. All right, so it was declared by President Reagan in 1984. With that said, we have a special event on July 27th celebrating National Ice Cream Day here at the temple. Whoop, whoop. Yes. Now, to continue the elevation of the energy, we have music by Ascension.
All right. Let's get this party started, everyone. Do 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 Jesus is just alright with me. Jesus is just alright, oh yeah. Jesus is just alright with me. Jesus is just alright. I don't care what they may say. I don't care what they may do. I don't care what they may say. Jesus is just alright, oh yeah. Jesus is just alright. Do 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 just alright with me. Jesus is just alright, oh yeah. Jesus is just alright with me. Jesus is just alright. I don't care what they may say. I don't care what they may do. I don't care what they may say. Jesus is just alright, oh yeah.
What a song. I love it. All right, so here at the temple, our mission is to assist people in their spiritual awakening and to support them through education, healing, love, and service. Now at this time, I would like to invite everyone to stand for the prayer chest led by Mary Moore, and then after that we will have divine healing. Today we have with us as our speaker Reverend Mary Moore on the topic Finding Freedom Within. And I have some beautiful spiritual readings for you. Please take a moment and listen to these beautiful quotes. This one is by Mystic Teachings. Quote, "Freedom is not found by escaping the world, but by no longer being bound by it." Unquote. What this quote's trying to tell you is that you must release the names you have been given, and the wounds you have agreed to carry. Let go of the stories born from another's pain. You are not what was said or done. You are the silence beneath it all, untouched and eternal. My next quote is by someone I like very much, Rumi, and the quote goes as follows. Why do you stay in prison when the door is wide open? Unquote. The choice is yours. Now let's have some more beautiful music by Ascension.
I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am.
You know what? I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So tell the world with peace on earth that only love can bring. I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. The change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Ascension. Thank you, Jacob Torres. Wow, wow, wow. How do I follow all that? Finding the freedom within. I thought his quotes were so appropriate. How do you find freedom if you don't go within? You can't find it in Ukraine, you can't find it in the world, you can't find it in Russia, you can't find it in the Middle East, you can't find it in Texas. You gotta go within. It's the most sacred place there is to find our freedom, no matter what's going on in the outside world. It's just to go within. Joe Dispenza and all the great teachers out there right now are saying, whenever you have a problem, start with yourself first. When I was 13 years old, I went to a Christian camp. My childhood was Christian. And on Thursday night, before we left on Friday, a minister said, was there anyone who wanted to come forward and confess their devotion to Jesus Christ? It was not like anything I had talked about to my parents, nor had I talked to any of the camp counselors. It was like life was pulling me as hard and as fast as I could go up to that lakeside around we had a campfire, around that to this man to confess my belief in Jesus Christ. I now, after I've been a minister for a number of years, I have some perspective on that. And that is, I feel like Spirit was pulling me. It wasn't this personality, this person. Spirit was pulling me. I began crying, and I did not stop crying until the next night when I got home. And I feel like when there's something emotional, that is a timeline that takes us, it's saying something about our soul and something that we've got to do. And so I now have that perspective. And the third perspective I've had was the man who issued that invitation. He had the most amazing heart. And I didn't put any of it together really until I planned this talk about his amazing heart. And he would, not all ministers can do like birth to death and all the stages of life and hospitals and weddings and all that stuff. Not everybody can do that. And some are electing not to do it anymore. But he was one of those that I'm sure he was just wonderful at all of it. He had a very successful church. It was about 3 hours away from me. When I left there that day, I never saw him again. I was baptized in my home church, and I received a letter from him, which now, years later, I so treasure. And he said to me, the thought that he would take time to send me a letter with all that he had to do. And it was basically a letter saying, there will be highs and lows in your life. There will be mountaintops and valleys. But you have made a decision that will hold you steadfast in your journey on this earth. And I so appreciate that. Never saw him again. I never wrote him a letter. That was it. But I just wanted to pause this morning and talk about finding freedom within. I think that was one of those moments I found freedom, and that's how it expressed itself. But I also feel like there are moments that we've had as children when we're growing up, and perhaps there was something very difficult that happened in our life. And we kind of made a stand like, well, I don't want to go through that. And so we begin to veer our soul in a direction of something of more comfort, because it's like, I don't want that the rest of my life. So I feel like we find freedom in many, many different ways, but it's always within and our perspective and our viewpoint. Jesus said, greater things than these shall you do. What did Jesus do? He raised the dead. He healed the sick. He turned water into wine. He walked on water. He did a lot of different things. He said, all of these things ye shall do, and more. I do feel like that of all the things that are going on the planet, I do feel like we have reached a level of understanding about healing that's never been here before. I've given this talk 3 times, and I've refined it each time I've given it. And I was speaking maybe 2 weeks ago in a Unity church, and someone there had stage 4 cancer, ovarian cancer. She's still alive. I mean, we're breaking the barriers. Dr. David Hawkins always said that every disease that we can get has already been overcome. We just have to rise to that understanding that no matter what happens to the body, we can overcome it. That's our opportunity to rise to that level where we see we can overcome all things. Dr. Joseph Spencer said, things like muscular dystrophy, things like that. One of his students put that in remission. He said, I'm telling you, I had to listen to that testimony 50 times to get it through my head that had happened, Because some of the diseases, well, he's had phenomenal results and has it all documented with medical records where he sent them back to the doctors to make sure that it's documented so that he can talk to people about this. And he said, some illnesses are just very difficult to overcome. And he said, I have to listen to my own testimonies of my own students over and over again to believe it's happened. So there's a gathering of momentum with Lynn McTaggart, who works with Joe Dispenza himself, and many other healers. There are many people here in this area who are very, I want to say, traditional Christian people who their congregation are being healed. There's one story about a woman, and I think her disease had to do with the pancreas, and she was ready to die. And this group of like 15 prayed for her. And they went outside one day, and she was out there, and she said, I just asked my husband to bring me up here. I just wanted to look at the church of the people who prayed for me, because I'm still alive, and I'm okay. I'm not going to die. I had this thought that I was going to die, and I'm not. Well, do you want to come inside? No, that's okay. I just had to come here because you all prayed for me, and I just had to see the church where you all prayed for me, because I have life. I have new life. So many, many people are putting illnesses in remission. And in 1990, I was on a plane to Europe, and I was reading a sci-fi book. It was talking about this planet that had accomplished this of no one was ill anymore. And I said, that's what we're going to do on planet Earth. And I feel like of all the miracles Jesus manifested, healing is the top one that we're going to experience. And I always like to deal with that because I feel like if we can see that our thoughts plus our feelings equal a demonstration in our life, if we can get through to ourselves and see that we create these bodies we're in, well, we can recreate them. We can recreate them. If there's off, it's not about cleansing and getting rid of all the toxins. It's about bringing the body into balance. And that's a very different way of thinking about it. And it's a very Eastern way of thinking of it. So, one of the things that I've come in contact with is people who are in their elder years, and I have asked them, they're in very good health, and I've asked them, to what do you attribute your good health at this age? Let's say 88, 91, 92, that kind of thing. They might take one medication, but generally just nothing much. And they say, I forgave everyone who ever did anything to me. In Matthew, it talks about forgiving 7 times 70. And when you study in Unity churches, they tell you 70 times 70 means you forgive everything forever. It's not just 490. And so, I spent a year in psychotherapy. And I love psychotherapy. It's wonderful. But it's working on the intellectual level. And I think it's so powerful to work with healers that we have right here at the temple on our own issues, because you get the spiritual aspect. I would go for a session and come home, and then I would be trying to integrate what my psychotherapist told me with my spirituality. And we have that right here. Dr. Lynn Sinnott works on forgiveness. She works with Core Health. Lynn, would you stand? I've worked with Lynn, and she really helped me a lot with forgiveness. She started the focus on that. And then we also have Lynn Forrest. Would you please stand, Lynn? Lynn Forrest creates a very safe, sweet environment, invites people to open and look at themselves in a safe environment, completely accepted, and then she starts to process with them, and she just offers them. She is so intuitive, she offers them with great courtesy, but she is spot on intuitively. So if you want to use some people for talk therapy, it's right here with us. And then, of course, you know all the other healing modalities that we have here. Sometimes you don't even need to say something. It just goes out of your body. But we have to be willing to let it go, don't we, in order to get there. We have to be willing to let it go. About 25 years ago, you know, when you're interested in healing, what's going to happen? There's a test before there's a testimony. That's what happens. All right. So 25 years ago, I became very gravely ill. I know some of you know this story, but there's more. So I was ashen gray. My legs were twice as big as they normally are. I had big cysts coming out my wrists. And I probably had 3 or 4 months to live. It's hard to say because the will is very strong. We know of people who live a long time. They come back out of hospice. So anyway, so I got together with an infectious disease doctor, and I was on antivirals, antiparasitics, anti-something, and antibiotics. I was on 4 antis. And so anyway, life rolled along, and I was on that medication. How long are we on antibiotics? About anywhere from 4 to 10 days. I was on for a long time. So 2 years into that regime, she said, I want to test you for Lyme's disease. And I said, okay. So I was tested, and of course, when you're working with someone that has a thought form of disease, and that is, anyway, I was tested positive. So I went on, she took me off one of the medications and put me on the Lyme's disease medication. And as you know, Lyme's disease can be a very difficult experience. It can affect the nervous system, and you basically can never get over it, supposedly. So anyway, life rolls along, and 2 years into that experience, so I was about 4 years into the experience, I called my son, who's in the medical field, and I said, I want to start proclaiming I don't have Lyme's disease. He said, I get where you're coming from, but that is a nasty bug, so please do not go off your medication without being under doctor's supervision. We found another doctor, and I began working with him, and the first medication he took me off of was the Lyme's disease, and my body held. And then we worked with the other 3 medications, and my body held with each one. Many people with Lyme's disease walk with a cane. Many people with Lyme's disease never completely get over it. They have to keep going back on medication and that sort of thing. And so, you know, it's just clear to me that we create what's in this body, and we can recreate. And we can recreate the body. So I'm not walking with a cane. I have no symptoms left. Yeah. And I attribute much of my healing to really Jesus Christ and my regime of focusing on healing. I had affirmations beside my bed, like, for example, when you have that kind of illness, you have a lot of pain in the joints. And so I said, oh, I forgive myself for all the pain I inflicted on others. So I worked with it in a very fundamental way, clearing my own energy system to move on. And of course, the affirmations you say for something like that is, my immune system is strong. I am abundant. I live an abundant life. And it just began focusing on new things in a very positive way, letting everything else fall away. I had a friend who lived in Los Angeles, and of course I studied with Louise Hay for a year. And my friend told me, she said, he said, I went to one of Louie's hay rides, that's what they were called, and she was working with people with AIDS and cancer and all kinds of things. He said there were thousands of people in this auditorium in downtown Los Angeles. He said, I walked in and there was such a heaviness in that room. And he said, I will never go back. And so we want to be careful what we get ourselves into, but it's such a credit to Louise Hay to be able to hold that energy of clarity about healing while she was working with all these people. And I do feel like my walk with Jesus Christ was a strong component of what helped me. But I like the big three. I like Buddha, Krishna, and Christ. So I don't stop anywhere. I like call them all in. So I had my own personal experience then of healing. And healing is in layers, so I didn't have the symptoms, but then I realized I had a thought form. The thought form and the story I was telling myself was, oh, my immune system has been so compromised, blah, 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 blah. And I just said, shut up. Stop it. Give it up. I mean, really? So I stopped all that. And now I can finally talk about it because I feel like it's far enough in the rearview mirror, I don't need to be concerned about it anymore. So I'm going to close today with, I want us all to pretend that we're on a two-seated bike, and we're up front guiding this bicycle, and in the back is Jesus Christ. All right. When I met Christ, it seemed as though life was like a bike ride, but it was a bicycle built for two. And I noticed that Christ was in the back helping me pedal. I don't know just when it was he suggested we change places, but life has not been the same since. When I had control, I knew the way, but it was rather boring and predictable. It was the shortest distance between 2 points. But when he took the lead, he knew delightful long cuts, up mountains and through rocky places at breakneck speeds. It was all I could do to hang on. Even though it looked like madness, he said, just pedal. I worried and was anxious and asked, where are you taking me? He laughed and didn't answer, and I started to trust. I forgot my boring life and entered into the adventure when he said, when I'd say, I'm scared, he'd lean back, touch my hand. He took me to places to meet people with gifts that I needed, gifts of healing, acceptance, and joy. They gave me gifts to take on my journey, my lords and mine, and we were off again. He said, give the gifts away. They're extra baggage, too much weight. So I did to the people we met, and I found that in giving, still, our burden was light. I did not trust him at first. In control of my life, I thought he'd wreck it. But he knows bike secrets. Knows how to bend to take sharp corners, knows how to jump to clear high rocks, knows how to fly to shorten scary passages. And I'm learning to just shut up and just pedal in the strangest places. And I'm beginning to enjoy the view and the cool breeze on my face with my delightful constant companion, Jesus Christ. And when I'm sure I just can't do anymore, he just smiles and says, just pedal.
Wow. Just pedal. Keep on. It's popping. This is the time for our love offering and tithes. May my ushers please come forward? As you know, as we give, we receive. God will never be without a blessing for you. I have proved it time and time again. I can't outgive God. I've tried. So I invite you to take your tithes and love offerings in your hands. And let's just know that divine love through us multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And we're so very grateful for this time and this love. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. And now we're going to have music from Ascension.
Happy July, everyone. So we've been closing our service with a patriotic tune, if you will, and this Sunday's no different. So if you feel like standing up and joining us, you're welcome to, as we sing, This Land Is Your Land.
Yeah.
This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me the endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Sing it out, y'all. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts. And all around me, a little voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. One more time, y'all. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you here again. Same bat time, same bat channel, same bat temple.